top prop bets on PrizePicks for this NFL DFS divisional slate. So I do want to start with the quarterbacks, specifically Patrick Mahomes and Trevor Lawrence. So looking at it right now, Trevor Lawrence's projection on PrizePicks is 315.5. And I want to call attention to this because we are going to see that either PrizePicks is wrong or DK Sportsbook is wrong. So right now, DK Sportsbook has his over and under passing yards set at 308.5. Okay, and they're saying that's about a 50% chance. So just right off the bat, that would suggest that PrizePicks is actually probably projecting him too high. I mean, 315 to 308 is a big difference. So right off the bat, it would suggest that this is a little bit too high. And if this number is going to be too high, and if we agree with this number, and it is the same, about the same, on DK Sportsbook, then this number for the combination of them should be under, okay? And if you just add up the two projections, it comes to a total of 561. So that's already 14.5 point difference there, guys. And let's just say if we were to do the DK Sportsbook, combine both of those, that would be 553 passing yards if we were to combine their numbers from DK Sportsbook. So that is kind of suggesting that this number could be too high. Now, I do want to call out as well that the game lines are suggesting that this is going to be a higher scoring game and that the Chiefs are going to win by 2 scores. So there just seems to be something that's not matching up here is what's going on. And if we pull up my projections as well, this is more for DFS purposes, but Patrick Mahomes' passing yards are projected to be higher. And that's more chasing the ceiling and whatnot, but I just want to call that out. So something just isn't matching up here. And to me, I would say, like, I would want to bet the under here. It just makes a lot of logical sense, just given the fact that looking at DK Sportsbook's props, they are suggesting that this is just way too high, pretty much. Or just using their projections, it's already saying that's way too high. And then we get into passing touchdowns. So Trevor Lawrence is very interesting here. We can see that, been a little bit hit or miss, struggled against the Jets, which you should struggle against the Jets. They're a good pass defense. The Houston Texans actually didn't give up that many points to opposing quarterbacks. So this could also be a good one as well. So I do think Trevor Lawrence over 1.5 passing touchdowns does make a lot of sense. He did have 2 passing touchdowns against the Chiefs earlier on this season. So that's part of it as well. And then we tack on the fact that this is going to be one of the best numbers that we are getting in terms of correlation with PrizePicks. Minus 140 for the over for passing touchdown. Okay, we don't really get that for any other player. So right off the bat, I do like the over passing touchdowns. And if they are, playing from behind, that would suggest that they're going to have to throw the ball more, and thus they would have to pass the ball more. And honestly, like Travis Etienne scoring any sort of touchdown, we don't really expect too much from him. And in that high over and under, if there's someone scoring touchdowns, it should be Trevor Lawrence throwing the football. And now another one to me that just kind of looks strange. So I like Josh Allen over 265.5 passing yards. Okay, we can see average has been better than that over the past 4 is what they're showing. And 2 out of the last 4. Against New England, a tough defense. Okay. Against Chicago, a team that they blew out. Don't really worry about that. Don't really care about that, honestly. Miami, a poor defense, so you would expect him to get over there as well. We're not drawing any conclusions from those 4 game sample sizes, okay? And once again, I will say, like, my projections on my side are a little bit aggressive, but 301. And then once again, if we were to look at DK Sportsbook, they are giving him about a 50% chance to either get the over and under at 277.5. Okay. So that is a big difference here as well. It's over 12 yards. That's going to add up. He is someone that on the season we can see averages over that, okay? This is another home game as well, and the weather could be bad, but he still averages over that as well. Okay, so for the most part, this is looking like a good number to bet the over on. And so the last one that I do like would be Daniel Jones under 21.5 pass completion. And so the games that he's been over were against Minnesota over his last 5 games. Minnesota is obviously a team that you want to pass the football against. But if you look at Indy, Washington, in the last game against Philly, wasn't able to do so. If we were to look at his average on the season, he averages 20 pass completions per game as well. But I want to call out, like, in these tougher matchups, he actually has been under. It's really in the easier matchups in which he really hit the over, with the exception to Washington. Okay, it was Detroit, it was Minnesota that really elevated this projection. Okay, and sure, Daniel Jones lit it up, but I just don't trust this. Like, chances are this under should hit. And this is another one where DK Sportsbook is also agreeing. They have this number set at 21.5. They have it set at minus 135. Those are good numbers right there. Those are good odds. And then also tack on the fact that maybe Jalen Hurts is a little bit banged up. The Eagles might have to commit to the run a little bit more. And because of that, it might not be as high scoring of a game. Thus, the game could stay closer. Thus, the Giants should be able to run the football a little bit more. Thus, they won't need to pass the football as much. Thus, we hit the under. Okay, it's as simple as that. So that's going to be all for the quarterback props. Let's go ahead and get into the rest of the players. All right, so this is not one that I particularly love too much, but at the same time, I do think there is a slight edge here. Chances are this game is going to stay close. Two good teams. Dallas, could easily win this game as well, but it's not going to be a blowout. And so because of that, I think that the Niners are going to need to use CMC to control the game, to control the clock, get first downs, get crucial first downs, have long sustained drives. So my point that I'm trying to make there is that because of those reasons, I think he's going to get the over. Okay, because we can kind of see in these games, that was a blowout against Seattle. He was able to get 119 rushing yards. That was great. Didn't see that many snaps against Arizona. That was a blowout. Didn't get the over. Against Las Vegas, that was a close game. Obviously an easier matchup, but he was able to get the over. Washington, more of a blowout. Didn't need to get the yards. Seattle, Tampa Bay, I guess a little bit closer, but we can see just since he's joined the Niners, chances are he would hit the over. Then on top of that, we are getting about 1 rushing yard. Not a big thing. And that's, I don't love this bet, but it is one that I think, has a good chance to get the over. So this is one that I kind of like. I just want to call it out. So PrizePicks has the receiving yards for Kadarius Toney set at 32.5, and this is not the bet that I like. I just want to call that out because his fantasy points are set at 6.5. Kenny's been able to get over that the last 3 games. And so the thing with this being the playoffs is if they feel like Toney gives them the best chance to win, which they should, probably their best receiver, athletic wise, just needs to stay healthy. I feel like he could see more snaps than the 30% of the snaps that he has seen the last few weeks. If he can get up to 45% of the snaps, that'd be huge. But the thing is, when he's been on the field, they have been setting up plays to go his way. Patrick Mahomes has been looking for him. So he is someone that I think if he does get an increase in playing time, or even if he doesn't, I still think he has a good chance to get the over 6.5 fantasy points. He's just like kind of that dynamic of a playmaker. They want to get him the football. The only issue that I really have is only 2 targets out of the last 3 games. That's somewhat of a worry. At the same time, those games were more blowouts, and this one could be a blowout as well. If they need to throw the football more, then Toney should be a good bet. So you're really just betting on the game flow here. So this one I just kind of felt was interesting just to call it out. DK Sportsbook has McKinnon's under receptions at -135. I think they're just saying they won't need to throw the ball. They won't need to throw the ball to the running backs, to McKinnon. Okay, I don't really agree with that. I just want to call that out. That is a good number that they're throwing out there. So a prop that I personally really like would be Deebo Samuel over 4.5 receptions. And part of the reason is because the Dallas Cowboys are pretty good at defending opposing tight ends. So with that, I think, obviously the weakness would be the Cowboys passing defense via receivers. I think that they would just force a few more targets to Deebo Samuel's way. And I just love the fact that, week 18 had been banged up, week 14 obviously sustained an injury. Prior to that, guys, he had been averaging a ton of targets, 9, 10, 7, 6, just a ton of targets. So his number is, I feel like it's down still because of that injury in week 18 where he didn't play a full allotment of snaps. Because if it was adjusted for both the matchup, the percent snaps, I think it'd be set at like 5. And it might even bump up there by game time. But as it sits right now, this is looking like it would be a good prop. I feel like the chances are he's going to get at least 6 targets, and because of that, has a good chance to get the over. Isaiah Hodgins is one that I want to just point out real quick as well. We can see he's been, break even or above that, and obviously on PrizePicks, that's going to be much more appealing than on somewhere like Underdog. And he's just playing so many snaps, playing about 90% of the snaps, has a good chance to hit that. And so another one that I like is going to be Marvin Jones over 6 fantasy points. I don't know exactly how he's going to get there. I just feel like this is going to be a good number for him, whether it is scoring a touchdown like he did last week or getting more receptions. He is playing so many snaps. He's playing 80% of the snaps to 90% of the snaps. Last week played 85%. Obviously, that was a game in which they need to throw the ball a lot, and this is already projecting like a game that they're going to need to throw the ball a lot. He's been getting 6 or so targets, and if he continues to get 6 targets, you just hope Trevor Lawrence can hit him. And so, like I said, I don't know how he's going to get there, whether it's receptions, whether it's a big pass play or a touchdown. I just like the chances that they're going to find a way to get Marvin Jones the football. They're going to find a way to get Marvin Jones involved in this offense because, well, he already is. It's just Trevor Lawrence has hit him or missed him a few times, was playing a lot, getting enough snaps, and has been open enough, getting enough targets. So looking like a decent number there for Marvin Jones, especially in a higher scoring game as well. And then the last one would be MIXON under 13.5 fantasy points. We can see he's already been under that 3 out of the past 5 games. And part of this is going to be due to the matchup with Buffalo. You definitely want to throw the football a little bit more on Buffalo. But the other reason would be that P. Ryan outsnapped him last week, and P. Ryan has been kind of the more impressive back this season, really. And so given kind of the lackluster performances from MIXON recently, it's just tough to really trust him. And this is a pretty high number for the amount of snaps that he's been playing, for how good he's looked. Now, can he pay it off with a touchdown and maybe a couple receptions and, get there that way? Yes, that can definitely happen. And if you think he's going to score a touchdown, do not bet this. If he scores a touchdown, it makes the fantasy score obviously a lot harder to get to for the under, at least. But this is just more bet on, how he's looked and the playing time and also the matchup. I just don't see him getting the over here. All right, so here would be the bets that I would want to put out. It would be probably Trevor Lawrence and Patrick Mahomes under that passing yards for those reasons I kind of mentioned. DK Sportsbook is already valuing it way under that, and thus PrizePick is already valuing it under that. It's just a strange number. Trevor Lawrence is valued at -140 to get over passing touchdowns, 1.5 passing touchdowns, and with kind of the game looking like it's supposed to be a higher scoring game, you would kind of think so. Josh Allen definitely being a little bit undervalued passing yards wise, especially when you compare it to DK Sportsbook. And then Daniel Jones just consistently has gotten under 21.5 pass completions. Given the matchup with the Philadelphia Eagles, I just don't see him being able to get the over there as well. As always, guys, those bets are going to be bets in which you can mix and match. We are trying to give ourselves the best odds to hit a 2-leg bet. Okay, so you can mix and match those, and hopefully all we have to do is cash over 33% of the time to make a profit. And if we continue to do that each day, each week, each month, it's going to hold some long-term success. And that's really what I'm trying to shoot for. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Give it a like and subscribe. That helps me be able to keep helping you guys. All right, let's have a good slate. And as always, let's keep cash.